Yeah, well, it's a big one, isn't it, really? So Tory supporters have lashed out at Rishi Sunak, who they have branded a snake, not my words, for suspending Lee Anderson from the party. Well, a Guardian exclusive has uncovered that several members of the Conservative Democratic Organisation endorsing Lee's controversial comments via WhatsApp, while Sunak was slammed as weak and feeble and, again, not my words, a nutsack. Another member told the WhatsApp group it's time for the snake of a PM to go. So it obviously is kicking off in quite rude terms behind the scenes. Now, the CDO has also launched a petition to have the Red Wall MP reinstated, with more than 11,000 signatories already. Anderson had the whip suspended after refusing to apologise for comments he made about London Mayor Sadiq Khan. And in an exclusive interview on this very show last night, it didn't sound like he was going to budge.
You saw the statement that I produced on Saturday, which I was willing to go with. It's shown a little bit of contrition in there, although I didn't directly apologise to Mayor Khan, which I'm not going to, not while I've got a breath in my body, because the comments I made weren't racist at all.
But pressure continues to grow on the former deputy chair of the Tory party, James Cleverly, the latest big hitter to call for an apology.
I think Lee should apologise. What he said wasn't accurate. It wasn't fair. But the Chief Whip and the Prime Minister have made the party position absolutely clear on this.
So tonight, I am asking, should the Prime Minister reinstate Lee Anderson? Let me know your thoughts. Email gbviews@gbnews.com. Tweet me at gbnews. While you're there, go and vote in our poll. The results will come very shortly. But first, going head-to-head on this, our political commentator Albie Amankona, and GB News presenter as well, let's not do him down, and former Conservative MEP David Campbell Bannerman. Chaps, thank you very, very much. David, I'll start with you. Should Rishi Sunak come grovelling back to Lee Anderson, give him the whip back?
I think it would make a lot of sense to give him the whip back, Patrick. I mean, I think it's a really foolish decision to remove the whip. We've taken the heat off Starmer, who was on the ropes after all the problem of pressurising, allegedly, the Speaker, and all the trouble that's come out of that. And now we have this race row, and it's not about race. I don't think Lee Anderson is anti-Muslim anyway or racist. And I think it's very foolish, and it's really let Starmer off the hook, and he may even leave the party now, and that would be disastrous for the Conservative Party. OK, now, Albie, is there not some truth to what David's saying there? You know, Rishi Sunak caving in, losing the red wall, all of that?
No, there's no truth in it whatsoever. Look, what Lee did was wrong, and as a child, I was always taught when you make mistakes, you apologise. Now, I understand Lee accepts that he made a mistake. He's described his language as clumsy. It's not something he wishes he would have done. It's probably not something he would do again. So he's admitted fault, so he should apologise. There is also, of course, the perception that what Lee has said is anti-Muslim, and this whole row has taken away from the very serious issue of Islamist extremism in this country. And I think that's absolutely unforgivable, because last week we had a situation in Parliament where Islamist extremists pressured the Speaker into changing the rules to what looked like favoured Labour. And now we're having a discussion about a race row within the Conservative Party, all because an MP said something which was wrong. So no, I do not think the whip should be restored unless Lee Anderson apologises. Where there is contrition, there should be forgiveness. But if there's no contrition, there should be no forgiveness.
Well, look, obviously, Albie, and to be fair, a lot of people out there do think that what Lee Anderson said was wrong. I'll be honest with you, David, I think the vast majority of people think he was absolutely bang on the money with a lot of what he said, certainly the sentiment of it, and therefore he shouldn't apologise, and actually it's Rishi Sunak who's wrong.
Well, I think he should apologise for saying that Mayor Khan hung out with his Islamist mates. I think that went a bit far. But, you know, I'd love to know from Albie, how do you define Islamophobia? Because the Labour Party can't define it. They were on Radio 4 this morning. Annalisa Dodds, chair of the party, she couldn't define it. The government is actually trying to avoiding actually mentioning Islamophobia. It's not a helpful term. I think Kemi Badenoch is right when she says we should use anti-Muslim hatred, which we are united in saying is totally unacceptable.
David, respectfully, I didn't use the word Islamophobia. You did. I agree with Kemi Badenoch's definition of anti-Muslim sentiment, and I think that is right. And there are many Muslims within the Conservative Party who I've spoken to from the Conservative Muslim Forum who say what he has said is anti-Muslim, and I think we should listen to them. When Jewish people told me that from the river to the sea, Palestine will be free, was a racist and anti-Semitic slur, I believed them. Why is it that we're not believing Muslim members of the Conservative Party when they say what Lee Anderson said was anti-Muslim?
OK, David?
Well, that's because you're just allowing a group of people to basically, create a definition that is wrong. I have a real worry about the definition of this. And also the label racist. Islam is not a race. It's a religion, and that is confusing too. So let's just stick to what Kemi Badenoch said. Anti-Muslim hatred, we all agree, is totally unacceptable. I don't think he showed anti-Muslim hatred.
Okay.
David, if the Mayor of London was Jewish and someone said that he's controlled by the Jewish establishment, what do you think should happen to that person if they were an MP? Would you think that MP should
Can I just counter that slightly
out?
Could I just before I let David say, can I just counter that slightly? If the Mayor of London who was Jewish had appeared on a platform 9 times with somebody who was an out-and-out radical Jewish person or whatever it was, and wanted to do all sorts of mad stuff in the Middle East, right? Then would it not be reasonable, Albie, to pose that question? We're not just saying he's not just piping out something that's completely baseless here, is he? In the sense that Sadiq Khan has, as has been widely reported, shared a platform an uncomfortable amount of times with some incredibly fruity characters, Albie.
Patrick, what Lee said was that Sadiq Khan was controlled by Islamists and he'd given away London to his mates. That is very different from a platform that he shared with some pretty bad people. I think it was in the early 2000s.
One of the people who
we can condemn that.
One of the people who supposedly was a mastermind behind 7/7 and
Patrick. What Lee said the other day, you agreed, was wrong. It is wrong to say the Mayor of London is mates with and controlled by Islam. And as I mentioned, I was taught as a child, when you make mistakes, you apologise.
All right. Look, David, if Lee Anderson, as it is being strongly rumoured this evening, and later on in the show we've got a bit of an inside track on this, but it's strongly rumoured this evening to be on the cusp of joining the Reform Party, does Rishi Sunak just have to swallow his words and say to him, Lee, come back because you're going to decimate the Red Wall?
Well, I think it's a disaster for the Conservative Party. It's an accident that shouldn't have happened. And I'm afraid the spotlight is on Rishi Sunak for causing this row and diverting attention right away from Keir Starmer and his terrible record on this. So, no, I think it's a disaster. And by the way, Mayor Khan actually talked about white families are not representative of London, and that, there's too many white men on Transport for London. So let's actually look at what Mayor Khan's record is, because it's not perfect. Thank you.
All right, just for the sake of absolute clarity then, Albie, you're saying even if it means that Lee Anderson defects to Reform, and even if the grassroots of the Conservative Party, in your view wrongly, fair enough, but the grassroots of the Conservative Party, the overwhelming majority of which think he was right for what he said, you still think that he should have the whip removed, and that's that as far as you're concerned, Albie?
Well, the grassroots of the Conservative Party that I know do not all think what Lee Anderson said was right. I would question where you're getting your opinion from, that you somehow are the speaker of the grassroots of the Conservative Party.
I'm not the speaker of it. I think I'm quite...
I was at a Tory party event in Westminster before I came to the studio tonight, Patrick, and I can tell you not everyone there thinks that Lee Anderson was right in what he said. I think what Lee Anderson said was wrong. He should apologise, and then he should be let back into the party. But if he's not going to apologise, he's not coming back in.
And David, finally, for your point, absolute clarity, you just think they should just let him back in?
Yes, I think he should apologise for the remark about Islamist mates. I don't think that was acceptable. But that's all he has to do. And let's move on from this and put the focus back onto Labour.
Right.
Totally agree, David.
Well, yeah. I mean, what is fascinating, and this is the point we can't avoid, is that Lee Anderson is not going to do that, right? So we'll have to wait and see what happens. But both of you, thank you very much. Good stuff, that. So look, who do you agree with? As Tory supporters lash out at Rishi Sunak, should the Prime Minister reinstate Lee Anderson? Tony on X says, yes, Lee Anderson kept the Conservative Party right by keeping silly wokeness out of the party. Leslie says, no, the Tories are finished. Lee should move to reform. Ria says, possibly yes, but he won't ever have a voice again if he goes back. So it's better he's independent or maybe join reform. Your verdict is in. 86% of you agree that the Prime Minister should reinstate Lee Anderson. 14% of you say that he should not.